Peace. This is Brother Hot Tim. I'm coming at you live. I'm still working with the Bluetooth, trying to get it together so I can make sure I'm trying to get y'all the quality that y'all deserve. First off, I want to thank all those that took time to listen. I'm sitting in an undisclosed location. I wasn't able to do my Freestyle Friday because I was wild on Friday night, and I didn't want to come with that lack of energy because I respect your time too much, and I respect the brand that I'm putting together here as far as this show. First, before I get started, I want to send out shots to those things I love. First off, Oxy Water. You know what I'm saying? You can check them out at www.oxywater.com. I want to send out shots to Orange 82. You can look at them at orange82.com. They provide the music that I open with on my show, Freestyle Friday on Giami Journey. Also, I want to send out shots to Unidade Capoeira under the leadership of Monitor Dentista up in Cleveland. I also want to send shots out to my site, www.giamijourney.com. You go in there, you can listen to my radio show, Giami Journey. I haven't set this show up on it yet because I'm trying to get more content for this show. Also, I want to also send out some shots, and hopefully you will check out some of my books on createspace.com. I got Giami Journey workbook, which is real popular. I have the Player's Pyramid. I also have my poetry book, Poetry is My Religion, and last but not least, the Lost Art of Storytelling. And coming soon, I will be having the Warrior's Handbook that I will be releasing soon. I'm just trying to make sure that it is correct far as the information I have in there, and I want to take out as many mistakes as possible. So I have some friends and some other people that's going over it, reading it, checking material for me. So be patient with me, and that book will be out. But in that book, it will give you a roadmap to develop your own system so that you can help yourself to self-mastery. None of the processes that I talk about are easy. All of them take work. But the one thing that I do know is once we set processes in motion, sometimes we have to trust the process. If we work the process will work for us. So all I want to do is help people establish those processes that will move them towards success. Now, this radio show in particular came about because of my love for fables, myths, folk tales, legends. Sometimes I call them brain stoppers. But I'm feeling that although storytelling is a very important part of our culture, we don't recognize music as storytelling. We don't recognize the movies necessarily as storytelling, but basically that's what it is, and it's $1 billion industry. I like looking at tales and trying to draw the wisdom from them. So the title of this show today is called The Importance of Elders. And one of the things that I have recognized in Western society is, one, we say we love children and we say we respect the elders. But the fact of the matter is that our talk does not match our actions. We say we love children, but yet we confine them to, in a sense, for in my opinion, even though I work in the education field at this point in time of my career, we confine them to prison environments full of rules and we say it's for their best, but oftentimes you find that is more so for babysitting, and rather than have them explore and become the best person that they can be, we train them and build them into widgets. And what I mean is widgets widgets that help this machine called the system keep on running. Now, those children that can't be formed into widgets are usually problematic students that are systematically eliminated, and as they become adults are introduced to things more so of things like drugs and confinement in several different types of ways, and poverty. If you don't fit in, you know what I'm saying, you can't survive. And I know most of y'all out there is like, well, that's the way it should be. But I want you to think about, what if your child is diagnosed as one of those that can't fit in? What if you can see the talents of your children? That's why I was talking about suffering last week, and also some of the deficiencies that we have. I talked about that last week, and being able to find where our strengths are. Sometimes the system is looking for certain strengths, but when we look at history, we see that it's not necessarily those strengths that help this society move on economically, politically, spiritually, emotionally. Is usually individuals that are outside what everybody calls the norm. I'm not saying that we should have an education system that moves individual towards being unusual, but what I'm saying is we need to be a little bit more open and be a little bit more inventive for those who don't necessarily fit in. Testing everybody and having everybody measured up to the same tests and to the same standards limits what teachers can do. It limits what parents can do. And since parents are so hard pressed to maintain jobs, a lot of times they don't have time to spend with the children that is necessary. We don't we say we love our children, we say we respect our children, we say that this society is based on protecting children, but yet and still we have made the society very child unfriendly. Anytime a society allows the economy to drive individuals to a point where one person cannot maintain a home, anytime a society drives towards separating families, you know what I'm saying, financially it's better for us to live apart, supposedly, quote unquote. We got this, we put this image out there. After you get to a certain age, you need to be able to move out and go on your own. We say families and children are number one, but our whole structure is designed to break down families. Now, this brings me to the point of eldership. We say we respect our elders. We say we take care of the aged. But when it comes down to it, we discard them because they no longer fit into the economic paradigm. They're, in a sense, considered, when you really look at the language that people are saying, we're politically correct, but why people really, let me just break down basically what they're saying. The elders are sucking up the resources from the young. Basically, the elders become leeches when they are no longer able to produce in the way that they used to produce when they were younger. So we have, in Western society, we have no respect for the elders. They can't fight like they used to. They can't get out and hustle like they used to. So they become, in a sense, useless. And what I want to do with these two fables is to point out the importance of eldership in the community. And when I say eldership, I'm not just talking about somebody who grew old. I'm talking about somebody who, through their work and through how they live their lives, have developed a social capital to be able to guide the community, the city, the state, and this nation to where it's supposed to be. I'm going to bring it back, and I'm going to talk about this political situation we are currently in as well. So the first story I want to read, and I want you to look at some of the similarities in this story before I break it down for you. The first one is from Aesop Fables. It's called The Mice in Council. Now, because I heard this story several different ways, so I'm going to, as I read the stories, realize that I do it in my own way. The mice summon a council to decide how they might best devise means of warning themselves of the approach of their great enemy, the cat. Among the many plans suggested, the one that found the most favor was the proposal to tie a bell to the neck of the cat, so that the mice, being warned by the sound of the tinkling, might run away and hide themselves in their holes in their at the cat's approach. But when the mice further debated among themselves, an elder stood up and said, "This is a very good plan. But who do we propose shall put the bell around the cat's neck?" And everyone grew silent. Now, let's move on to the next story. The next one, and I'm going to bring it home real quick because I don't want to take up too much of your time. Be patient. The fox who had lost his tail. A fox caught in a trap escaped, but in doing so lost his tail. Thereafter, feeling his life a burden from the shame and ridicule to which he was exposed, he schemed to convince all the other foxes that being tailless was much more attractive, thus making up for his own deprivation. He assembled a good many foxes and publicly advised them to cut off their tails, saying that they would not only look much better without them, but they would get rid of the weight of the brush, which was a very great inconvenience. An elder among them interrupted him and said, "If you had not lost your tail, my friend, would you not thus counsel us?" Now, the one thing that stuck out in both these stories, because I heard these stories in many different ways, but oftentimes people change the story and they use the elder in that story. Each one of these stories, and I could find some more in here, but I wanted to get this out before I lost this thought. Both these stories hinge on an elder. You have groups of individuals come together. You have separate communities, whether it's a community of mice, a community of goats, a community of sheep, a community of foxes, a community of squirrels, or even a community of humans that comes together. And in this story, the idea sounds good to everybody. And in a sense, the ideas start holding sway until someone, an elder, with the social capital and the wisdom is able to deflate the idea and get to the core of the problem. Who will bail the cat? Excellent idea, great speech, but who's going to go out here and bail this cat? Who's going to put this bell around the cat? The elder often brings common sense. He brings wisdom into a place where wisdom has been beat out by just knowledge and people who are able to talk good. Same thing with the tale. The elder was able to look through and see what the motivation for this tailless fox telling everybody that a tail is a burden. The question was, if you did not lose your tail, would you be instructing us and telling us and promoting taillessness amongst the rest of us? Elders are able to bring a wisdom into a group. They're able to be direct because they have the social capital, because they have been working and struggling within that community to be able to tell an individual the truth when they need to hear it. They are able to see through foolishness and help everybody else see through foolishness so that they can keep everybody safe. Elders are very important because they keep, in a sense, the past alive. They have experiences that can, in most cases, help advance society. Now, I do know some of you out there saying, well, all elders are not like that. Well, all old people are not elders. we need to be clear of who the elders are in our community. You could tell an elder by their work. You could tell an elder by the relationship that they have with the young people around them. You could tell an elder by the things that they do. If the elder is sitting around chilling with you at 45 and is not dropping wisdom on you and not making you think, then you have to really question the fact of whether this is an elder or not. An elder is someone who, through their conversation, can basically get individuals to start thinking and seeing things in another way. You don't have to agree with it, but they do make you think. They do challenge the paradigms in which you may be stuck in. And sometimes as youth or as middle-aged individuals like me, sometimes we have to challenge the elders. But at least when you challenging the elders, you know as an elder, and they at least have a leg to stand on in an argument. So you have to be very respectful in how you approach them. This society has basically took our wisdom, took the old people, and basically tried to separate them from everybody else through our mindset, because they are not economical machines no more. They are not they are not a cog in the machine no more. They are quote unquote retired. So it kind of devalues their opinions and their ideas when they may be recognizing a pattern that you can't recognize because you have not been alive long enough. Now, let's bring this back to where we are right now with our political system. Now, whether some of y'all may not know this, but when we look at the political system that we have, there's a certain, you have three branches of government. You have the executive branch, which is the president. You have the judicial branch, which is the court, the Supreme Court, and then you have the legislative branch, which is composed of Congress and the Senate. Now, for those of you that don't know, when you look up the word Senate comes from the same word. It shares the root with the word senile, which also basically means senior. It shares the same root as the word senior. And a senator is basically supposed to be a wise old person. So the Senate is supposed to be run by wise people. The Senate is supposed to be the representation of the eldership within our society. I ask this question: is it a representation of eldership in our society? And are they helping run this country in a fashion that shows that there is some wisdom in the United States of America? Now, we have basically gotten rid of our elders. We have sent them to retirement homes and think that's where they're supposed to be. They're supposed to spend their last few years in comfort and pleasure. But I think the elders need to be spending their last years helping and protecting the society, the community, the cities, the states that they help build. Their wisdom is what keeps us safe, or it can keep us safe. And it can remind us of where we come from, so that we can always remain humble. See, because a lot of people don't understand this. We hear the word humble and we think weak, but I want you to understand this. You can learn absolutely nothing if you are not humble. When you approach somebody to teach you something, you have to humble yourself. That's why in martial arts, you bow to your teacher. That's why prior to this modern sense of education, a teacher was a highly respected and highly paid field. Because you can't learn from someone without humbling yourself and being willing to make sacrifices for that individual, or at least for that knowledge that you're going to be receiving. Right now, we have not humbled ourselves. We don't respect our elders. You know what I'm saying? So, our country is going amok. You know what I'm saying? We have grown men and grown women up in Washington, D.C., still getting paid for not doing a job. When you and I both know that if we were to refuse to do our job, we would be fired and homeless. But they still keep their medical care, they keep all their stuff. Now, Aesop Fables basically gives us a groundwork to be able to look and see the importance of elders. Look and see and to look at what is going on right now, and to challenge what is going on and what is wrong with the system that we have in place. Now, I just wanted to share that. I mean, I kind of took it a whole bunch of different places, but that's how my mind worked. You know what I'm saying? But I would highly advise all my listeners to get yourself a copy of Aesop Fables, because the wisdom that's in these books, that's in this book, is incredible. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's impersonal. You're talking about goats and sheep and foxes and bears and all this other stuff, but if you humble yourself and you look at the stories, you can find a guide that can help you move through life. You find concentrated wisdom. You find an inoculation against bullshit in these tales. So go on and dip into them. And this is Brother Hatim, and I'd like to thank you for joining me for Folk Tales for Grown Folks. And let me know what you think. Hit me up at www.giamijourney.com. Also, you can leave comments on my Spreaker page, or you can hit me up on Facebook. You can hit me up on Twitter. You can especially hit me up on Google+. All right? So this is Brother Hatim. I'm out. You have a good night.